And welcome to this live by Dubai Trading Academy. We are back at our Parisian trading floor with normally a better internet connection than previously, but don't hesitate to let me know if there's any quality issues, and I will try to fix them for next time. So as always, this live is for educational purposes and not in any way financial advice. You bear the responsibility of your trading, and this is not financial advice. Since we are doing Thanksgiving weekend in the US, volume and volatility should be quite low. So today we won't be trading US index future. We probably won't be trading whatsoever. It's mostly going to be a quick review of the news, look at the economic calendar, see how the different asset class behaved, like today, maybe during the week. Quickly have some technical analysis of the Nasdaq future, and then answer some questions that people send us. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask them. We will try our best to answer them at the end of the stream. So if we look at the economic news, I've noted quite a few, but let's start with one of the big one for crypto traders. The Binance paid a fine of paid 4.3 billion of dollar in fine to the US, and CZ or Changpeng Zhao, the founder of Binance, has to step down. He plead guilty of money laundering and other stuff. There's several. You can find a lot of the news about this topic. So if you're interested, feel free to do your own research or participate in anything. Then another news we have is Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, is back at OpenAI. He first got fired and sent to Microsoft to work for Microsoft, and now he's back at OpenAI following the pressure put by OpenAI employee who said that they were going to leave OpenAI if the CEO didn't come back. And basically they wanted to follow Sam to Microsoft. So basically, since he came back to OpenAI, it's the end of the saga for now. And in my opinion, it's a good thing, especially in tech companies. It tends to be better when the founder is still in the company. We can see, and even if he leaves, if he come back, we can see it was quite successful for example, Steve Jobs. When WeWork, once they removed the CEO of WeWork died, even though it was dying before. But sometimes it's necessary to remove the CEO of the company. Uber, for example, the CEO was they needed to remove the CEO of Uber. Then, wait, I'm gonna do something quickly because I think we might have some small connection issue. Yeah, not so much, so it's gonna be okay. If you have any, if you miss something, just let me know and I will repeat. Then afterward, we had news about the Chinese real estate crisis. Like I've talked about it quite a lot, but basically it's real estate developers in China were under a lot of pressure because they were highly leveraged. And basically, the Chinese leader made a forceful push to end this crisis, basically ramping on the pressure on bank to basically plug the $446 billion shortfall in funding, basically, and trying in order to create stability in the industry and deliver millions of unfinished apartments that people are already bought, that are still being constructed. If we are more on a more market-oriented news, basically the gold price rose in Asian trade Thursday after pulling back from a key level overnight, mostly because strong labor market data fueled uncertainty over the path of the US interest rate. And the yellow metal saw a strong run-up this week amid the growing optimism that the Federal Reserve was done raising interest rate in this cycle, and they briefly crossed the $2,000 an ounce mark on Tuesday. But the sign of resilience of the US labor market and the hawkish signal from the minute of the Fed recent meetings stalled the gold rally. The same way it created a rebound in the dollar, and that rebound on the dollar weighted on the price of gold. There was like a really strong run-up like last week on growing with the amid the growing optimism that the Federal Reserve was done raising its interest rate. Talking about that, it's the key debate in the market right now is have the major central bank finished with the interest rate to curb inflation? And if so, when will they start cutting? Because if they're not raising, they're gonna cut. Like today was the minute of the European Central Bank. I haven't had time to catch it, but it's we are gonna get once we should have pretty soon some answer about the point of view of the European Central Bank, because like the Fed is saying. The central bank officials were were sending mixed signal with Mario Centeno, which was making dovish comment, while Christine Lagarde, the president, was warning against premature celebration. So it was it's quite difficult to know in which direction they're going, even though if we take a look at what the Fed is doing, we can hope that it's the end of the rate hike cycle. Also, on other news that are quite important, at least in Europe, it's the victory of Dutch anti-EU far-right populist Geert Wilders, that won in parliamentary election yesterday. And we need to watch what are the implications for the Netherlands, because it's an economic powerhouse in Europe, and it's quite important to see how this is going to affect their politics, their economic policy, and their European weight. Also, another news that was quite important, especially if you're trading oil, it's the OPEC, sorry, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country. In French, it's OPEP, so that's why I made this. And the allies, so therefore Russia, in delay to certain number their meeting, because there was a meeting where they were expected to discuss oil output cut. But why did they postpone it? Is because they were struggling to agree on output level, and hence reduction ahead of the meeting. Originally it was scheduled for like the 26th of November, so on Monday. No, on Sunday. Some sources say that this was linked to African country, which are the smaller producer in the group, which is the investor concern, because since it's only small producer of the group, if they maintain their production levels, they won't have such an effect on the market. Also, the most important news is that this weekend is Thanksgiving weekend, so we don't expect a lot of volatility, obviously, because American won't be trading today. They will be on holiday, and therefore volatility and volume should be lower today. On top of that, market close at 7 p.m. Central European time, and same for tomorrow. So it should normally market shouldn't move a lot today. So that's why we're not really trading. So if we look at the economic calendar, let's see. Maybe I can put it for you somewhere. Yes. So if we look at the complete week, we saw on Monday there was some the 20 years bond auction that was 0.5% below than the previous one. So we can see that there was a trend reversal actually on bond, because basically on the bond yield, where before they were going up, but now they start going down, which means that people started buying back some bonds, and that's quite important information depending on what you do. Then if we look, there's some UK things, but mostly was on Tuesday there was US existing home sales that was worse than expected and worse than last time, but still pretty high. We had also the Fed minutes. Where is it? They're here, as well as the weekly crude oil stock from automatic data processing. Then on Wednesday we had basically the crude oil inventory that were like the API. It's not APD, it's API. American Petroleum Institute. Okay, sorry, not APB. APB is for a job. The API weekly crude oil stock. And so a huge decrease in demand as the stock have increased. And as the stock has increased, and we had also like the jobless claim that were better than expected, which would be an indication that the labor market is more resilient than anticipated by the Fed. Then on Tuesday there is Thanksgiving. It started. There's worker day in Japan, so they're not working either in Japan or in the US, hence the low volatility. We've got some PMI in Europe, some PMI in the UK, and some and the minute of the Fed. Then tonight we have the Fed's balance sheet, where they started a wave of quantitative tightening by selling title on the open securities on the open market. We can see like the peak was in April 2022, somewhere like that, and since then it's been going down with a peak in March 2023 because of the regional bank crisis in the US. And tomorrow we have the US PMI. If I'm not saying, well, yeah, we have the PMI, the advanced PMI. It's not the official one. It's and so yeah, not a lot of relevant information for us. Then, if we look at the asset class, yeah, it might be quite a short stream, but we're gonna see. Like gold, like I said, is still ranging around 2,000. We went above yesterday, but now we are going down a bit. We are lower. You see here we were above. If we take it the week, we had some peak above 2,000, like on it was Tuesday and yesterday, but we went back under. And if we look on a longer time frame, we can see that we are in some kind of range where we've been for like several times, and that mostly because the BRICS wants to maintain the price of gold quite stable in order to be able to buy to accumulate enough so that they can index their currency to gold and take over the USD as a international trade currency standard. If we look at the WTI and the Brent, we can see that we are basically around the same level as last week, 75, 80. Not that it's a kind of we're still in some sort of well, not really, like we are on some, so we enter some kind of range, but we're going to see if we go down below this, and then we will continue our downward trend that we started on the end of September, the beginning of October. And the WTI look more or less the same, so I won't show it to you. If we look at currency, the Euro USD is still pretty high for the last for a very long time. If we look like on 6 months, we can see that we are back at September level, and maybe we are gonna reach back July and June level that were kind of a peak of for several. Yeah, we are back at the March and level, and we are on a clear uptrend. We need to see or if we where we're going after, but mostly we are bullish euro, bearish dollar, long euro, short dollar. If we look also at the other currency, we can see that the dollar has been quite collapsing lately. Like if we look compared to the GPI, we can see that we were like the BOJ managed to defend the level of 152 they wanted to defend, and we could probably see a reversal of the general direction of the market. And same with the GBP USD. So like I said, I'm mostly short dollar at the moment. And which pair we should use, I'm not that, I haven't looked that much into it, but at least I'm short dollar. Like if we see GBP works also, both mostly all the currency are evolving in the other side, like gaining value compared to the USD. That's the minute of the Fed. It's something like 10 page. Yeah, it's 10 page, 2-column text where they resume what they say, summarize what they say in the meeting. You can find it on the website, on the web page. And then afterward, if we look at bond, I'm mostly going to look at US bond, but we can see that most of the bonds are getting under the 5% even for US one. You can see the 10-year is at 4.45. The 2 is at 4.8, while it was at 5.2 not so long ago. And that's mostly related to the Fed minutes. If we look at short-term interest rate, they are more or less stable or dispersed, but that's mostly important for the cost of capital. And if we look at equity, basically we see that Asia was, the Nikkei was yesterday, so we don't really have a good opinion, but the Hang Seng is going up. And we can see that the rest of the market is also going up, but on a very dispersed. Nasdaq is closed. The spot market, the US spot market is closed, so that's yesterday's result. But if we look at the future, we can see that basically we are quite stable, even though here we have 10-minute delay. Like the market is not moving a lot. If we look like today, basically you see it's been flat.